like beer? Do you love sports and beer? Then you're exactly where you need to be. This is the Huebs Views and Brews Show on 1252 Sports Chicago. Cheers.
Welcome on into a Monday night, Huebs Views and Brews. And no, we are not. I am not at the Whistle Sports Bar and Grill 159 Studios in beautiful downtown Lockport. I'm sitting in my humble abode. Had to get some lamps over here, so I got some light and everything else in the process of packing up and everything else, but not at our studios today. But do want to thank the Whistle, as always, our studio sponsor, for doing all they can and getting us back out at the studio. We'll be there soon as we get things going. Well, Mike's going to come out in a little bit, explain to you what's going on with him. He's been off for a while. Damn guy getting sick. He's supposed to be getting sick. You're a youngster. So we'll talk about that and much, much more. Want to thank all of our sponsors before we get too far. Nick and Ivy Brewing, and we'll talk about them in a minute. Paul, with a really nice weekend we just had. Jonathan Darren. Also, the Coach's Corner, we have the Megaplex over in Homer Glen on Bell Road, Fozzie Football, Habano Cigars, lots of great sponsors, always helping us out, making sure we can do all these podcasts for you on 1252 Sports. I mentioned Nick and Ivy, and they had their second anniversary this weekend, and Paul was celebrating in Lockport. They had a beer. I got a couple of the beers in the other room. Maybe I'll bring them in and show them to you before we get a little bit too far. Maybe during our beer segment, I'll go to the fridge and grab the beers. His 2-year anniversary for Nick and Ivy coincides with my 2-year anniversary of dating my beautiful girl, Linda. And Linda and I stopped over at Nick and Ivy on Friday. We had Mexican food from the restaurant they had there. They were making burritos and tacos and such good stuff. They had nachos. I had a steak burrito. Linda had a shrimp burrito. Awesome stuff. Really good food. And then I grabbed a sip of the Nick of Time 22, the barrel-aged beer that they had over at Nick and Ivy for their second anniversary. That was awesome. So Linda also bought me a 22-ounce bottle of the Nick of Time, also the About Time Imperial Stout they had. I had a Oktoberfest. We'll get into Oktoberfest and all that during the beer segment today. Lots going on with Oktoberfest. So many Oktoberfest coming up on one specific day, one specific weekend coming up in September. So we'll talk a lot about that. But it is Huebs Views and Brews, and we'll get to Sox. We'll get to Bears. We'll hear from Mike in a little bit too, but I wanted to start with an Oktoberfest beer, okay? This is called Get Yo Festi On, and it is from the guys over at Bubble House Brewing, okay? John Meller is a good picture of the can from Bubble House Brewing. It's an Oktoberfest Marzen. Marzen, a darker style beer. Very, very good. It's like a auburn color, very tasty. Some people call it bready. Again, I've told you all the time on this, I can't tell you a whole lot. I can just tell you if the beer tastes good or not. You'll see as I pour it, it's a little bit darker than some of the other beers we have. It's not an IPA. It's not a hazy, none of that stuff. So if you have friends that are not into the hazies and the IPAs, they would love I spilled the drop. They will love the Oktoberfest beers, and there are a ton of them. Over at Orange and Brew, they have a deal where if you buy one of the Oktoberfest that they have on tap and you buy the mug for, I think it's $6 throughout the entire month, you get refills of another Oktoberfest beer for $5 as long as you bring the mug in. Not a bad deal for the guys over at Orange and Brew. I have not gotten there yet. I plan on getting there. Heck, maybe tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow early evening, something. Sounds like a great plan for me. But let me take a sip of this one, this Bubble House. Get Yo Festi On. exactly what I expect in an Oktoberfest. And you see the color. It's a darker style than some of the other styles we've been drinking or that I've been drinking. I'm not sure if you've been drinking them or not, but there's so many Oktoberfest beers. They're all very tasty. If you get a chance, and I know some people, I've talked so much about breweries and that, but if you go to a Binny's or somewhere like that, and you can find Oktoberfest from Germany, a Spaten or a Paulaner, they're all very, very good. But I love the Spaten Oktoberfest, probably one of my favorites. The Germans will tell you there's only 6 breweries that can make an official Oktoberfest beer, and those are the 6 breweries that are pouring at Oktoberfest in Munich in October. And I think Oktoberfest starts September 17th, and that is in Germany, and it's done usually the first Sunday of October. This year, for some weird reason, I was reading and said it's going to end on the Saturday. That's October 2nd, October 3rd. But we'll talk about all of the Oktoberfest coming up. This is a really good beer. I stopped at Bubble House the other day, bought a 4-pack, and it's very, very tasty. As you guys know, for a while, I was a little under the weather. I blew off a show, couldn't do a show because I was coughing up a storm and not feeling well. Well, I'm fine compared to our guy, the leader of 1252 Sports. Fat Mike's been struggling. He was in the hospital for a few days, but he's back, kind of. He's on the couch or in the kitchen. There he is, our guy, Fat Mike.
Yeah. It's been hell on my end, man. I've been sicker than a dog, like everybody knows. I've been trying to keep people up to date. Like you said, we both ran through it pretty good.
Yeah.
You had a cough. I had a cough there for like a month. Then it just went away. I chalked it up to the humidity and all the mold and stuff in the air, all the allergies in the air. It turns out it was the onsetting of pneumonia. From coughing so hard over that month span, I did break a rib. I was in the hospital last weekend. I was there for 5 days, and then they ended up taking like 4 liters of fluid off my left lung. It was a whole thing. It was disgusting. I'm slowly getting back to health, but which I'm happy for. But yeah, it was a wild ride. I still feel kind of like crappy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know that we kind of did a show a week or so ago, and then technical problems screwed that up just a little bit.
Yeah,
and but it's great to be back on Huebs Views and Brews. I won't be doing a show next week, and that's because you and I've got a special show coming up on September 11th. Hopefully, you're better by then.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's going to be a great show again. Everybody, it's going to be awesome on September 11th. Fred and I, obviously, you and I are going to be doing a pregame for the Bears over at Nick and Ivy. It's going to be outstanding. Tickets are $40, and with those tickets, you get 3 free raffle tickets. You get to hang out with us for the pregame show. Not only do you that, but you get 3 free raffle tickets. You get a free pizza party, like hanging out, eat as much as you can eat pizza wise and food wise, and then you also get 2 free Nick and Ivy beers with that $40. So it's worth every dollar. And there's also we have raffles going on. We got a Cubs raffle bucket. We got a White Sox raffle bucket where you can win tickets. And then we also have the Bears raffle bucket, which is going to have a Mike Ditka signed helmet. So that'll be pretty fun and pretty cool to do. I can't wait for everybody to get on out there. So make sure you guys are buying your tickets. NickandIvyBrewing.com. It's in their online order app there. It's all you do is click on the online order, and you'll see the tickets right at the top. That's how you get them.
That's great.
It's awesome.
I can't wait. The Niners today made some news. They actually signed Garoppolo to a 1-year deal today. So he is going to be there. And some people are saying, well, maybe it's Shanahan not liking what he's seeing from their quarterback. So we'll wait and see.
From Trey Lance.
Yeah, from Trey Lance. So they may not be.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that. That's interesting. I didn't hear that.
It happened late this afternoon. So he's not going anywhere. But I'm sure you were sitting at home, so you probably had a chance to see the Bears game. What were your thoughts?
I did.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on Justin Fields the other day?
Well, I mean, listen, I know the old adage is you play who you play, and no matter the teams that you play are the teams that you play. Whoever's on the field is whoever's on the field. No Myles Garrett, no Denzel Ward, no Jadeveon Clowney. All right. But from what I've seen out of Justin Fields, was a huge step in the right direction. Everything, it's been what everybody's been wanting to see out of Justin Fields since the beginning of last year.
Yep.
Goes out there 14 of 16, 156 yards and 3 touchdowns. And the 3 touchdowns, the last 2 were, gimmies. Cole Kmet in the end zone right there, completely wide open. I think that there wasn't even a body within 20 feet of him.
Mm-hmm.
But the best touchdown was the first touchdown. I forget who had caught the pass. The backup tight end. He's another backup tight end or whatever. One of our 15.
Ryan Griffin.
Yeah, one of our 15 tight ends that we have.
Yeah.
But that ball was perfectly placed. And it was placed to where only he could get the ball. And that's something that, as a Chicago Bear fan, everybody wants to see that up-and-coming start of, okay, this is what Justin Fields can do when he has time. This is what Justin Fields – he's a playmaker. He has a good ball.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to see that, and I think we all kind of got a glimpse of it. It was great. I loved it. I watched the entire first half. After that, I was like, okay, I'm out. Boom. Turns out they almost lose that damn game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unbelievable. But, I loved what I saw now, Justin Fields. How about you?
Yeah, it was very good. I loved seeing Montgomery finally get some carries in the first half. And the nice thing about Montgomery, the more he gets the ball, the better he's going to be. I like the offensive line. I couldn't believe it. Ian Rappaport mentioned this morning, I was watching the NFL Network, and while I was watching, they were talking about the possibility of the Bears still looking to trade Tevin Jenkins. Now, if that's the case, that makes no sense because they've moved him to guard, and he has started at guard in the last couple of preseason games.
Right.
Played relatively well.
Yeah, no, he's the one thing I noticed the very first couple of drives of Saturday's preseason game is I didn't like the way the offensive looked in the first couple of drives. I was like, I don't know about this. They kind of like they look maybe slow, maybe they were getting beat.
Yeah,
and it showed. Justin Fields almost got killed. That wasn't. That was on his own volition, no sliding. That wasn't him getting hit in the backfield. That was him taking a run. But it's happened 3 times in the last 2 preseason games.
Yeah,
you got to protect this kid, and he has to do a job of protecting himself. But the offensive line, those first 2 drives, kind of folded, in my opinion, and caused him some trouble to where he had to make some decisions. But the decisions that he made were the right decisions, which was nice.
Yeah,
he found an open guy. Didn't throw the ball away again. Like I said, 14 for 16. Found an open guy. That's the way. That's what you need. Yeah. The offensive line needs to be healthy and to be strong this year for this Bears team to be successful. Yeah. That's a definite. I've been saying this for the last 3, 4, 5 years. Without an offensive line, you can't move the football. You don't score points with a crappy offensive line. It's been a testament to that the last 5, 6 Bear seasons that we've seen. They suck. All right, they suck at putting up points. And why? Because the offensive line has been terrible.
Yeah.
Offensive line now this year, I like what I see out of this. I like what I see out of Tevin Jenkins playing right guard.
Yeah.
I like what I see out of Braxton Jones. I like Sam Mustapher looked okay again yesterday. Let's see what happens. But the offensive line is a big thing for me. They have to stay. They have to get up better this year.
Well, they went out and got Lucas Patrick. He's been hurt for a while, so he has not been playing. He's the guy they want to play center. Tevin Jenkins is the guy that's going to, hopefully play the right guard position. They got Borum playing at the right tackle position, but Riley Reif is a guy I think they plan on having him out there. So they did go out and make some moves. I like the things they did. Also, everybody was criticizing their wide receivers. You know what? Some of these guys just are showing.
Dante Pettis had a nice game.
He had a really nice game. He knows how to catch the ball. He's running nice routes. They haven't even used Darnell Mooney all that much here in the preseason. So they got Darnell Mooney. Cole Kmet not only is catching the ball, but he's holding on to it. Going for
look at that. Mr. Rock Hands.
Yeah, the Ryan Griffin kid that caught the touchdown. He's a kid that played for the Jets. He's been around the league for a few years. So he's a guy that can play in the league. I saw a clip from Diana Rossini. I don't know if she said this over the weekend or if she said it a week or so ago, but it was just a clip of her saying the Bears are going to be the worst team in the NFL this year. And then someone else came out and said how bad they were going to be last week. And I don't see it as the worst team in the NFL this year. No. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think in their division, they can still win games against the Lions. I would not be surprised to see them beat the Vikings. Roquan Smith was supposed to play the other day, and leading up to the game, they decided not to play him. So I'm eager to see how that all plays out. Since we were doing shows before, he's decided, listen, I'm going to play this year. We'll deal with it as we go along. But I got a feeling him. And then I like some of the other guys they picked up, the other linemen they picked up, the young cornerbacks, the young safeties are playing and getting pumped up. And I'm eager to see how this new defense works under Matt Eberflus,
Right.
and how everything goes with them getting to the ball and trying to force takeaways and things like that. It's going to be fun. They have a tough start. Okay. You got the Niners and the Packers in the first 2 games. That's not an easy start, but
I think of those
down.
2 games, the most attainable winning one, honestly, in my opinion, is the 49ers one.
Yeah.
I mean, if they do go out there and start Justin Fields, if they do go out there and start Trey Lance, with just rookie, with him being not a lot of experience underneath his belt, that's a very winnable game.
Right.
I think that I really do. And now Rossini saying, going back to what you said about Diana Rossini, saying that the Bears are going to be the worst football team in the NFL, I don't know what she's talking about. And the more and more now listen, I wish that they would be the worst team in the NFL this year. Because I want the high draft stock. I want the high pick going into next year. At least one of them. What I want the Bears to do, I want the Bears to win 4 to 5 games. What I think the Bears are going to do, and this is no joke, the more and more
delirious. You told me
I know, and it's not pneumonia delirium. It's not pneumonia delirium.
I don't know. You told me before we started you still had a fever, so we got to check on you when you go ahead. Go ahead. Say what you're going to say.
I'm telling you, I think the Bears can luck themselves in the way to 10 wins this year. I truly do. And you look at it, you look at the beginning of their schedule where it's Houston and the Jets and the 49ers. That's a winnable game.
Right.
You beat the Jets. You beat Houston. I think they can really do some damage. And they could be a team that surprises everybody because their strength of schedule is actually pretty weak. The toughest team that you play all year, you got New England. All right, they're still good. They're still on the up and up. The arrow's pointing up with that team. You play Atlanta, which is that's a dumpster fire.
Yep.
You got to play the Giants. They stink. They can really win 10 games, and it's crazy. Yeah. We could be sitting here in 4 months, in 5 months, 4 months, or whatever it is, and looking at the Bears possibly in the hunt or in the division lead at the NFC North.
Well, listen, after they play the Niners and the Packers, they get Houston and the Giants.
Winnable
Minnesota, and then Washington.
Right.
It's a tough end of October with the Patriots and Dallas. You got Miami, who I think is going to be improved this year. They're running the Niner-style running game. So I think Tua is going to have a little more success this year at the quarterback because of the running game they're going to have. They're going to be quick. They're going to be a fun team to watch. But I see 6 or 7 wins this year. I never liked making predictions. I never did. It was one of the things I hated doing on the radio. I got into sports radio so I could talk about what happens on the field, not what's going to happen, because Lord knows I had no idea what was going to happen.
Right.
We're just guessing. So I'm eager for the season to start. It's weird that the last preseason game was there. They cut down tomorrow to the 53-man roster by 2:00 Chicago time. And then we'll see. We'll see who else is cut around the league. Maybe Ryan Poles goes out and picks up another player, an offensive lineman he might like, another receiver he might like, something like that. And so tomorrow is going to be a big day also for the Bears as they put this squad together for the new season. So, no, my sister watching, no Sox game. Yeah, of course. So she's watching us because there's no Sox game today.
Right.
So,
talk about the White Sox, man.
Oh, I got them. I can't
wait to hear your thoughts on that. I can't wait. I'm just gonna sit back because I can't do it. I'm gonna laugh about that.
Well, I figured what we'll do is let's have some of our sponsors. Let's do some of our sponsors now. I come back. I'll do some White Sox talk, a little bit of beer talk. We're hoping to have Jeff Meller from ESPN 1000 on with us. Jeff does the fantasy football show. I've worked a lot with Jeff over the years. He produces for the Waddle and Sylvie show right now, and hope to have him on around 7:40, around 20 minutes from now. So why don't we hear from a couple of our sponsors? We come back. I'll talk White Sox because, my God, it's good that the baseball season's over. Now I can concentrate on football. So we'll get to that. Mike, you stay well. And if you want to jump back on and we get some fantasy talk, more than welcome to have you back on. Heck, you own the network, so I'd love to have you on whenever we can do it. So let's take a break. We come back, some Sox talk, some beer talk right here on Huebs Views and Brews.
Thanks for having me, Fred. We'll talk soon.
Hello, this is Paul from Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. We are located at 1026 South State Street in historic downtown Lockport, Illinois. We are very excited to be partnering up with the FatMike ChicagoSports Show as well as the 1252 brand because we are one of the few Chicagoland breweries that embrace sports and sports culture. Come in for a fresh brewed beer made right here in Lockport while catching the game of your favorite team. Stay for the live music that we have booked every weekend. Or just come for a cozy atmosphere to enjoy a good conversation with a friend, loved one, or complete stranger. Nick and Ivy makes you feel right at home no matter what the occasion is. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook by searching for Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. Visit our website for our up-to-date tap list or to go shopping on our online store at nickivybrewing.com. That's Nikivy brewing.com. Come in today for a fresh brewed beer born and raised in Lockport, Illinois.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Darren, licensed real estate broker with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group in Homer Glen. Are you looking to buy or sell? Have you been disappointed in the past? The Jonathan Darren team with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group focuses on providing you with a concierge level of service during the process of buying or selling. We are a service-oriented team with a fresh and professional approach to selling real estate. Our goal is to combine knowledge, skills, and passion to exceed our clients' expectations, and most of all, we truly care. We are a knowledgeable real estate team focused on offering expertise and innovative solutions for our clients. The Jonathan Darren team has 5 full-service real estate brokers and a dedicated full-time marketer servicing all of Chicagoland. We will customize a detailed plan around your timeline for a sale, purchase, investment, estate, or other needs. Real estate transactions can be stressful, but don't need to be. Let us handle it for you. Visit our website, homesbyjdt.com, or call 708-308-1938 today. Expect better in real estate. Choose the Jonathan Darren team.
Hey, this is your girl Ruby from Habano Cigars in Homer Glen, Illinois. We are the best cigar lounge around. From Davidoff exclusives to anything Placencias, from rare Opus X's and everything in between. We literally have it all. And if it's not here, we'll get it for you. Here at Habano Cigar Lounge, we host amazing and exceptional events on the last Thursday of every month. That includes free food, raffles, prizes, and giveaways. We're open from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Thursday, Friday and Saturday, 9 to 11, and on Sunday, 10 to 10 p.m. Again, we are located at 133 West 143rd in Homer Glen, Illinois, so drop by and give us a call today, 708-590-6473. Habano Cigars, Homer Glen. It's a vibe.
It's a vibe.
Back here on Huebs Views and Brews, and we talk some Bears. Cannot wait for the opener against the Niners coming up September 11th. Again, go to nickivy.com and pick up some tickets. $40 a pop. You get a couple of beers. You get some 3 raffle tickets. You also get a pizza party. We got some food. We're going to have the pregame show at around 10:30 from Nick and Ivy. We'll have a great time for the first Sunday of the football season. Season gets underway on the 8th on Thursday night. Cannot wait because the baseball season's over. The White Sox get swept by the Arizona Diamondbacks. That's right, the Arizona Diamondbacks. Unbelievable how bad it is. Pig Dog Video, thanks for the kind words. Mike and I love doing the podcasts, and it's a great time. So the White Sox get swept. Okay, they struggled in Baltimore. They get swept by the Diamondbacks. The White Sox are now 63-65, 2 games below 500. They suck, okay? The next couple of weeks, they've got Kansas City for 3 games, Minnesota for 3. Then they head on the road to go to Seattle. The Mariners are a team right now in the playoffs as a wild card team. And then the White Sox go to Oakland for 4 games, which never turns out well. The Sox in Oakland, the Sox in Seattle, never. It never works out well. Every single game, it seems, This comes down to the end, and the White Sox usually blow it late in the game. So the next 13 games, Sox have Kansas City, Minnesota, Seattle, and Oakland. So you figure, well, they can make some hay. Right now, the Sox are out of the wild card by 6 games. They are 5 games back in the division behind the Guardians, a couple games behind the Twins in the American League Central. It's been brutal. And it's been a lot of the talk today on MLB Central, also on Brian Kenny's show, Baseball Now, or whatever it's called, MLB Now. Listen to some of these numbers, okay? The White Sox are 21st in runs per game. 21st, okay? That's bad. They are 28th in home runs. That's right, with Abreu and Robert and Jimenez and Grandal and all these guys that are supposed to go deep. Tim Anderson, they're 28th in home runs. The White Sox have the lowest percentage of hits being extra base hits. So basically, they have probably the highest percentage of hits being singles. They have the lowest percentage of hits being extra base hits. They're not hitting the ball hard. They have the second highest chase rate, meaning they chase out of the strike zone. They're striking out. They're brutal. They have the lowest walk rate in baseball. The Dodgers and Yankees have the highest walk rate in baseball. Pitchers pitch around them. The White Sox, they pitch around the White Sox, and it doesn't matter. The White Sox swing anyway. Lowest walk rate, highest chase, second highest chase rate. Absolutely brutal. And if you're a White Sox fan, you've been watching this, you understand, and you're not surprised by these numbers, okay? They also have the 5th fewest outs above average, and that is a defensive stat. So that means there are 25 teams that play better defense than the White Sox do. So they're doing nothing well. The Pacoda predictions at the beginning of the season, Fangraphs, I think it was beginning of the season, had this White Sox team that was in the playoffs for 2 years in a row. They had this White Sox team winning 92 games. Again, I told you they're 63 and 65. That's 128 games. There's 162 in the season. So they have less than 40 games remaining. And they are struggling big time. You'll look at the guys they're struggling. Tim Anderson hasn't played. He had the groin injury. He has other injuries now. He's out 4 to 6 weeks. AJ Pollock, who he's had some stretches here and there, but he's not doing what you've expected him to do. And Yohan Moncada and Yasmani Grandal have been absolutely brutal. So bad this year. And pitching-wise, they're getting great pitching from Dylan Cease. He gives up 2 runs the other day in 8 innings. They're both home runs, and the White Sox end up losing as Kendall Graveman comes in. Hey, Graveman and Kelly have been good additions, haven't they? Oh, my God. They're so bad. Graveman always seems to walk a guy. Joe Kelly hits 2 guys the other day and walks a run in. It's been absolutely a disaster with some of the guys that Rick Hahn picked up. And part of me doesn't blame. It's so weird because I have a hard time blaming general managers who pick up guys that are supposed to do well. Kendall Graveman has pitched well everywhere he's been. He comes to the White Sox and for the most part has not, in my opinion, has not done the job well enough. Okay. Joe Kelly was hurt a lot this year. You had Lance Lynn was hurt a lot. Lynn's got an ERA of 5. Giolito's ERA is 5.14. Thank God for Johnny Cueto. Johnny Cueto is one of the only guys that has actually kept the White Sox involved and close this year. Before the game yesterday, Dylan Cease was the first White Sox pitcher to go 8 innings, not named Johnny Cueto. Okay. So right now, that old phrase, if the playoffs were to begin today, the White Sox wouldn't be in them. Houston is the best record in the American League, followed by the Yankees. Then Cleveland, winning the Central. They would play Toronto, and Tampa Bay, as the number 1 wild card team, would play Seattle. Remember, those wild cards are 3 games, all of them at the home, the best record field. So Toronto would be at Cleveland for 3. Seattle would be at Tampa for 3. Baltimore's only a game and a half out of the wild card spot. I'd love to see Baltimore get in. Minnesota is 3 back. In the National League, the Dodgers have a chance to win 113 games, I think it is this season. They are ahead of the Mets. Those are the top two teams in the NL. St. Louis is third. What a great game last night. St. Louis and Atlanta, after an hour rain delay, good, well-pitched game. Odorizzi had a no-hitter into the sixth inning, and then Lars Nootbaar goes deep opposite field down the left field line for a home run. Then the ball started flying out. The Cardinals with a couple of big homers. They end up winning the game 6-3. That was fun. St. Louis right now is the team that's going to win the Central. So they would end up playing a wild card against San Diego, with St. Louis hosting those games, and Atlanta against Philadelphia. Milwaukee right now is a game and a half back of that last wild card spot, so a game and a half behind Philadelphia. One of the things that the experts were talking about with the White Sox, and this is something Jesse Rogers has been harping on for a long time with the White Sox, and I have poo-pooed it because good hitters hit, okay? But Jesse's been all over saying the White Sox need better left-handed pitching, or I'm sorry, better left-handed hitting. And you look at it, the White Sox left-handed hitters, other than Gavin Sheets, are all switch hitters. So you got Grandal, Moncada, and Lurie Garcia, who've all hit miserably this year. So the White Sox are not beating good right-handed pitching. That's what they're facing. And you've got guys like Robert struggling, Jimenez not playing well. Abreu's hitting 308, I think it is, 14 homers, but you expect more out of him. Andrew Vaughn is the guy that's got to be in the lineup each and every single game. And unfortunately, they keep moving around with lefties and righties. I know they're trying to get Gavin Sheets in enough, but you know what? Andrew Vaughn's a guy that needs to be out there. And I think eventually Andrew Vaughn will be a 130, 140 game guy for the White Sox. The catching situation, I'm not sure. They got to go out and find a good catcher, a young, good catcher. This Carlos Perez is a kid that just came up because he was needed after Grandal went down. You got Sebi. Sebi's a nice guy. The pitchers like throwing to him, but he's not a guy that can hit the ball. So Joel Sherman this afternoon on the Brian Kenny show had the best thing about the White Sox. Not the best if you're a Sox fan, but he basically hit the nail on the head, okay? Joel Sherman said they don't play baseball well. And he's exactly right. They don't run the bases well. Joel McEwing's had a lot of bad sends at third base. They don't play good defense. I think the White Sox have found themselves in a situation where they got players that were hitters and could hit for power, but don't know the fundamentals of the game. They don't know, and they cannot concentrate and play good enough defense. They just don't play baseball well. And I think that's one of the best things I've heard, the best descriptions of this year's White Sox team. The 2022 White Sox, they don't play baseball well. I think it was an awesome, absolutely awesome description of this year's team. It's sorry to say, but unfortunately, I think that's it. They just do not play baseball well. And they'll resume playing bad baseball tomorrow night. Kansas City comes to town, a team that hustles, a team that has Bobby Witt, a team that has Nicky Lopez. Seems like the Sox play the Royals all the time. Every week, the Sox are playing the kid from Naperville in Nicky Lopez. And they hustle. They work hard. They're not a good team, but Salvi Perez will hit a couple of homers, and the Sox will struggle. We'll see what they do. Nicky Lopez getting to come home, and I'm sure his family from Naperville will be out at the ballpark. So that's enough White Sox talk. It's been absolutely brutal. Some beer talk really quick, because it is Huebs Views and Brews. Let me take another sip of this Get Your Festy on. An Oktoberfest from Bubble House. I told you I wanted to show you this. I'm only going to show you one. I didn't want to carry both of them over. But Nick and Ivy celebrating their 2-year anniversary. This is the Nick of Time 22. It's a barrel-aged, bourbon barrel-aged stout with vanilla in it. 11.5 alcohol by volume. 11.5. That's why I'm not drinking the 22 ounces today, because by this point I will be well hammered. 11.5 in 35 minutes. Yes, I would have been on the way there. But Nick and Ivy, some great stuff the other day. Nice to see their 2-year anniversary. It was nice running into John Bitterman. I'm going to have Bitterman on the show. He's a big beer collector, a collector of glasses. I talked to him the other day. We'll get him on the show when we're back out at the studios. Scott Childers and his wife are also there. Just a fun time at Nick and Ivy on Friday night for their anniversary. They also have the About Time, so you can pick that up. They also have a really nice glass. When you order a Nick of Time, because it's 11.5, you get a smaller pour, about a 5 or 6 ounce pour, in a glass right now that says Nick of Time 22 with a gold rim and gold embossing on the glass. My girl Linda bought me one, which was very, very nice. It would look prominent in our home whenever we get into our home in beautiful downtown Lockport. I'm sorry. We'll be in Lockport, beautiful downtown Lockport, very, very soon. And I'm moving like 4 minutes from the office, the studio. So cannot wait. I mentioned how there's a lot of Oktoberfest coming up. Okay. September 24th, if you can hire a driver, or if you know someone that doesn't drink, maybe they can drive you around to some of the Oktoberfests on the 24th. Because there are Oktoberfest celebrations on September 24th at Black Horizon in Willow Springs. I said Willow Springs, at Willowbrook. They have Sound Growler, which is out in Tinley. Goldfinger in Downers Grove. Two Brothers out in Aurora. Elmhurst Brewing, in Elmhurst. And Hailstorm Brewing, also in Tinley Park. So that's 6. And I'm sure I probably missed 1 or 2. This is September 24th, Oktoberfest celebrations in all of those. I know I'm going to hit Goldfinger. I bet Goldfinger's first 2 Oktoberfest celebrations. I'll get out there for this one. I've got a shirt from last year's. Had a great time. You get a big Oktoberfest beer. You get a big pretzel or whatever they have. And it was a great, great time. Had fun. I'm sure I'll be out there this year. Now, there are other Oktoberfest celebrations. As I mentioned, Oktoberfest in Germany starts on Saturday the 17th. It goes through October 2nd or 3rd. Wolfden has their Oktoberfest. They're in Bloomingdale, September 17th and 18th. So Hopped out in the Western Burbs, September 16th and 18th. Microphone has theirs coming up September 30th and October 1st. So right at the very end is when Microphone has those. And there are some other places that are having Oktoberfest celebrations, which is a great thing. If you can hit them, great, because the beer's great. The music's fun. Everyone's having a good time. The food's usually really great. Woodridge, I'm in Downers right now. Woodridge, right next door, has their Oktoberfest celebration coming up at the Cypress Water Park, September 30th and October 1st. The Naper Settlement, where the Naperville Ale Fest was this year, which I had a chance to go to, was awesome. That's coming up September 30th and October 1st. And Church Street Brewing has their 10th anniversary coming up. That's a little bit earlier. That's Thursday, September 22nd through the 25th. Church Street making some great beers. They've been doing it for a while. 10-year anniversary for Church Street Brewing. And there are so many great breweries. I drove past. I mentioned that Linda and I were celebrating our 2nd anniversary, and we've been together since August 27th of 2020. And we were downtown that day. We went to Tavern on Rush, which I just heard is closing as of the end of the year. So we were at Tavern on Rush, went back to my condo, which we had down there. And that was the first night we were friends. We were just good friends. That was the first night I asked for a kiss. And Linda and I have been together ever since. I know. Very, very sweet. You'll probably see it somewhere on a Hallmark movie in years to come. But anyway, so we went to Gibson's on Saturday night to celebrate our anniversary. Had a wonderful meal at Gibson's in Oak Brook. That was tremendous. Very, very nice. Nice way to have Nick and Ivy on Friday, Gibson's on Saturday, breakfast at the hotel we stayed at on Sunday morning. Just a wonderful weekend. And Paul, when I told Paul that our anniversary coincides with his anniversary, he said the reason we're together is because of him. We'll let him think that if he throws in an extra bottle of Nick of Time 22. That would be a good thing. Let's take a break. Hopefully we come back. Our guy Jeff Meller will have a chance to jump on in. We'll talk some fantasy football. I've got, let's see, I think I got a draft coming up Thursday. I got another draft coming up on Sunday, and I've got another draft coming up next Tuesday. I don't like being in a lot of leagues, but all of a sudden I find myself in 3. So we'll discuss some fantasy football when we come back. Let me have more of this beer. I'm not going to open up the nick of time, so I'll probably just nurse this one as we go to break right here on Huebs Views and Brews.
Hi, this is Kathy O'Connell at Coach's Corner, located at 8118 West 143rd Street in Orland Park. Our phone number is 708-364-1026. We are Orland Park's #1 sports bar. Come in for our wonderful beer menu and seltzers with a fully stocked bar. Watch a game, drink a beer, and try something off our amazing menu. We have everything to choose from: nachos, potato skins, and our house-made bar chips to start off with. Then try our tacos, burgers, and one of our delicious sandwiches. And don't leave without trying our famous jumbo wings. They do not disappoint. Coach's Corner. It will sure to become your local bar. Again, we are located at 8118 West 143rd Street in Orland Park. Come see us today.
Aussie football, are you ready, brother? Real football action on a glossy game surface played shuffle style. Slide a shuffle puck at pass or run targets, and a free mobile app keeps track of every game detail. Easy to learn, but this game of skill is difficult to master. Take care of the ball, or turnovers will kill your drive. The game is guaranteed to get your competitive fire burning, and it's perfectly sized to take anywhere. The park, a barbecue, your next tailgate, or fun at home on game nights. Aussie football is simply the best, most realistic and competitive game of football available anywhere. Add defense when your skill improves and take the game to the next level. The perfect mix of fast action and real football drama, where a last-second Hail Mary can break hearts or make champions.
Megaplex Sports Complex is a 78,000 square foot center filled with hardwood and turf. They have baseball rentals with batting cages, softball, soccer, lacrosse, gymnastics, cheerleading, cornhole, basketball, volleyball, and pickleball. It also features a bar and grill with the best pizza and beef sandwiches around. They cater to events such as birthdays, graduations, corporate parties, as well as memorabilia shows. Check them out at Megaplex Sports Complex, 15301 South Bell Road in Homer Glen, 708-966-4210. Welcome back to Huebs Views and Brews. The football season starts on the 8th, Thursday the 8th. And as I mentioned, I've got 3 fantasy football drafts coming up in the next couple of weeks. I don't ever do well in fantasy football. I like the drafts. The drafts are fun. And then I just suffer and watch my team lose all the time. One guy that doesn't is a guy I worked at ESPN 1000 with. And he's a guy that's done a fantasy football show for years over at ESPN 1000. You'll hear him with Waddle and Sylvie. He is one of their producers. Jeff Meller from ESPN 1000, nice enough to join us here on Huebs Views and Brews. Jeff, what's going on?
Not much, Freddie. Long time no talk. How's it going, man?
It's going well. Absolutely well. The first thing I got to ask you, before I even ask you pleasantries or anything else, I'm looking at some of the fantasy football things, and I see people ranking Christian McCaffrey second or third. Wouldn't you have to have a lot of balls to pick Christian McCaffrey early in the first round after what's happened the last year or two?
Yeah, so the way I look at it, and I'm approaching it, I tend to agree with you. Whenever McCaffrey's on the field, he's clearly been somebody who you can count on for an unprecedented workload, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, I think at this point, 2 years in a row where he's been injured, I'm reluctant to take him, I'd say, any higher than really 4th or 5th right now. And I'm talking specifically about PPR formats,
Yeah.
if we're talking standard scoring without the benefit of getting a point per reception, then I'm not really interested in taking him very high at all, because the workload, he's shown and proven at this point that it's hard to trust him. And so when he's out there on the field in the past, he's been clearly, by far and away the best scorer for you. But the reality is that at this point, I'm reluctant to trust him, because I don't even know if he's, even if he's healthy, I'm
Right.
not sure that he's going to see the workload that he's seen in the past. And so, right now you're seeing he's not really practicing on back-to-back days, and the Panthers are saying, oh, that's because, we want to make sure that he's healthy for the season. But when a guy is already dealing with that and they're approaching it like that to start the season, I'm going to go with safer players in the first round above McCaffrey at this point.
Yeah. How many leagues are you going to be in this year? Do you know?
So I'm going to be in 6 leagues this year, and I've been doing my best year after year to try and, pare it down. And at this point, I think I'm pretty settled with my 5 to 6 leagues for the most part. Now, if somebody comes in and says, hey, I've got this really interesting league and it's, fairly high stakes, then I'll open my mind to the idea of adding another league. But at this point, I've been doing it for so many years that in my time, it's one of those things where I think anybody who, if you have a family too, you have to kind of be up, okay, what's worth my while? So 5 or 6 leagues for the most part is kind of what I'm happy with. Any more than that, I think it gets out of hand.
Yeah. There's no doubt. Myself, for years, I used to get the fantasy football magazine. And then I went in the store the other day and I saw this one from USA Today, and it's great. It's got a cheat sheet, lists all the players and all that kind of stuff. Nice to have with me on draft day. As a guy that's done this for so long, do you buy anything, or do you do most of your stuff just by reading and keeping up to date with stuff on the internet and everything else?
Yeah, it's interesting. It really has changed. I'm with you. Now, this is going to be, let me do the quick math. So it's 2022. My first year was in 91. So I've been playing fantasy football for 31 years now. And so I can go back with you, for a good 15 of those, it was all about buying the magazine that would hit the shelves, and usually late June, early July.
Right.
And then, you had to keep up on what injuries you needed to, mark your magazines with in pen, cross the guy out with a red Sharpie because you knew he was injured, but the magazine had gone to print in June. So yeah, I'm familiar with, with those back in the days, but at this point, I just don't really see a whole lot of use for buying a magazine. Listen, if you're somebody who likes to have a cheat sheet right in front of you, but again, all that information is out of date, and most good websites are going to have something available for you. I think just the internet and printing up a cheat sheet has kind of replaced the old school magazine. And now you've got, whether it's a podcast or, if you're doing a streaming show, a lot of that stuff has kind of replaced the old school magazine. So I really don't buy a magazine. I haven't for a while now, but they were certainly the bread and butter for a long, long time. And I think essentially the elements of a magazine now are available to you on a website, cheat sheets, or a podcast for the most part.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I noticed that you guys, ESPN 1000, had their big football thing a couple weeks ago, and I'm not sure if you posted this or someone else did, but they posted a list of your top players at each of the positions, the running back, wide receiver, quarterbacks. Was that you that posted that?
Yeah. So, the ESPN promotions team headed by Sonny Parks and Travis Wacker were the ones who posted it, but they asked me for, hey, we had Football Fest, so can you give us your ranks? And I said, yeah, absolutely, no problem. And so I did give it to him. I have adjusted since, but that was, probably a week before the actual event where I kind of was at. And it's interesting because you get 2 weeks removed, and, that was really like kind of my first draft, to be honest with you, Fred. And so things have kind of changed for me a little bit in regards to like my top 12 at each position, just getting a little bit more information and kind of seeing how things unfold.
I was watching the news today, and I saw that the which running back was it now? I want to say it was Najee Harris has a foot injury that he's been out for. Now, he's a guy that a lot of people would take in the first round.
Yep.
But what an injury like that, where he's not playing, and I don't know, was it Liz Frank?
Yep.
I think. Yeah, so that's an injury that can keep him out for a while. How does someone go about that? Do you just wait for someone else to gamble and pick him up, or if he's available 3, 4, third or fourth round, then you go after it?
Yeah, no, it's a great point. And yeah, and they have, they said it's the the Liz Frank, Achilles area, and they
Yeah.
haven't officially. It's scary because the Liz Frank injury has really ended the career of a lot of good running backs, and
Sure.
generally it's a season ender. So I'll be honest, that takes Najee Harris off of my draft board in the first round completely right now with that news today, which is one of the reasons why I always try and encourage people to draft as close to the start of the regular season as possible. And I understand if you're in multiple leagues like me, sometimes it does get a little tricky juggling that.
Yeah.
But this is exactly the reason, because if you're going to be, playing in a league, especially if it's for higher stakes, the worst thing is to have your first round pick done with injury or dealing with an injury before the season even gets going. So for me, I'm not saying I won't draft Najee Harris right now, but I will not draft him in the first 2 rounds. So if I'm in a league that has a bunch of other sharp players and so everybody's kind of staying away from him,
Right.
then maybe, depending on the league format, I may take a swing if he's sitting there in the 3rd or 4th round. But right now, I don't care what Mike Tomlin says. He's in crisis management mode, right? He's going to tell everybody out there, because it doesn't benefit him at all to tell people if Najee Harris is truly hurt. So I'm staying away completely. There's so many other good players available in the first round. Why would you risk it with a guy who's already dealing with an injury that could be very serious if it turns out to be worse than we're believed?
Yeah, and with your history of fantasy football, I have a lot more confidence in your swing rate that you won't have nearly the chase percentage the White Sox have. So I feel good about that. Mike's going to jump on too. He's got some questions because Mike might be in even more leagues than I'm in.
Mikey,
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
excellent.
So I got a good one for you. I just had a draft yesterday, and I ended up taking a reach, and a reach, I think, in my opinion. I got some good wide receivers. I got Justin Jefferson. I also have Keenan Allen, who I love. He's Mr. Consistency. But I took Allen Robinson. How do you feel about that pick late? I think I got him in like the 5th round.
So I think that's about where he's generally being drafted. I think that's the right price. I liked Allen Robinson and the idea of him in LA a lot more before Stafford, before we got word about a month. I'd say it's probably 3 weeks ago when we really got word that Stafford was dealing with the elbow issues and throwing. I don't like the fact that the Rams are, managing his workload already. Very similar to what we're hearing about, with McCaffrey. Like, football is a violent game. You're going to come away with injuries at some point. So dealing with that before the season even begins, I hate that. But I'll say this, Mike, if Matthew Stafford proves to be fine, then I love this. I love the idea of Allen Robinson getting a lot of targets and receptions this year. Kind of stepping into not an identical replacement for Odell Beckham, but Cooper Kupp is going to be somebody that defenses are really focusing in on this year. They saw what they did last year, and I think this is going to leave a great opportunity for Robinson. We saw what he was capable with the Bears for a couple of years with quarterback play that wasn't as good as what Stafford's going to provide. So as long as Stafford proves to be close to what he was last year, I like the spot. But I'll be honest, I'm a little bit concerned about the elbow. So, I'm not upset with it, but right now, as I head into this, right before we're 11 days out, I'm a little bit lower on Robinson than I was heading into it before I knew more about what Stafford is. And that's kind of just I'm being a little risk adverse there. But again, I'm not I don't think that's by any means going to destroy your draft. I think that actually could be being a very good pick. It's just the uncertainty of Stafford concerns me a little bit right now.
Are you placing him more in like your 3rd tier of wide receiver?
Yeah, I think so. And, when you look at it, and it kind of changes day by day right now. So Allen Robinson's essentially 28th on ESPN's most recent cheat sheets. And this is, I'm just looking at a 9 PPR one that I have right in front of me. So I think that's about right. I'd rather take, I think Allen Robinson right now above Michael Thomas, someone who's in that range who, is dealing with his own issues. So the good news is Robinson is not hurt himself, but you hate that his quarterback is. So I think that's about right. That wide receiver 3 spot. The one thing about the wide receiver 3 spot is that I think you have somebody who, you could go ahead and grab a bunch of different guys who are very similar, a little bit later in the draft. Someone like Juju Smith-Schuster is in that similar range. Adam Thielen. They're all kind of the same to me, So this is where I like to get a variety of wide receivers. So I end up, generally having, I'd say, 4 or 5 guys that I really like, who I look at as a little bit interchangeable. You've got Jefferson, Mike, so that's a great start.
Yeah.
And then you're going to play around with, in my opinion, probably, who's your wide receiver 3 starter, because I have to imagine with so many plentiful wide receivers out there that there's going to be guys on a week-to-week basis who you look at and you say, you know what, A-Rob, I like A-Rob a lot, but I've got someone on my bench who's going to be fairly productive. It's a passing league, and what that's really changed for fantasy purposes is there's a lot of viable starting options for you out there in the league, more so than there's ever been, I think.
When you talk about wide receivers, explain to a lot of people how difficult it is grabbing a rookie, because some people go crazy. They'll watch the preseason games, they'll read all the stuff, they'll say a rookie's looking really good at the wide receiver position, but wide receiver in the NFL is a really hard one to get established at, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's probably a bit of a false sense of security because of the way that Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle, and then before them, Justin Jefferson performed the last couple of years. So I think you're right, Fred, is that we get infatuated with the shiny new toy quite often. And then, like I said, it doesn't help that Chase was awesome last year. He's a top 3 wide receiver in fantasy. Jefferson is 1 or 2, depending on where you want to put him with Kupp. So I can understand it, but the reality is that I think those guys are they're a different breed, right? Chase obviously had the rapport with Joe Burrow, so he came in with that advantage. Justin Jefferson at LSU had played with Joe Burrow, so he had played with a pro-level quarterback, and he, in that offense was clearly somebody who was going to be utilized, and he was stepping into a role where Stephon Diggs, prior to him, had really lit it up for the Vikings, so they were going to be dependent on Jefferson to do a lot. This year, I'm with you, Fred. I'm not quite as high on the wide receivers. And so for the most part, I'm going to let most of the people buy into them because I don't think anybody in this draft class is going to step in and be a rookie like Chase, Jefferson, Waddle were the last couple of years. And even Jalen Waddle, who had a tremendous year, caught, I think, 104 balls last year. I think he's set up for a little bit of regression just because with Tyreek Hill there and Tua somewhat unproven, I'm hard-pressed to believe that Jalen Waddle is going to have as many catches as he had last year.
How do you feel with rookie wide receivers? There's the one that I keep on. I keep on drafting him in every single league because I think he's going to be an absolute stud. Now, maybe not studly like Jamar Chase or like Justin Jefferson or those guys, but Treylon Burks, A.J. Brown. How do you feel about that pick, and where would you be picking him? And where does he fall on your rookie wide receiver list?
All right, so I will be honest, Mike, I don't have like them rated in terms of rookie straight down the board, so I would have to kind of like look it through. But Burks is somebody who I think a lot of people are expecting him to just step in for A.J. Brown, right, and immediately be the guy who's going to see all those passes. But I think A.J. Brown's a bit of a special breed. So the good news is, though, that Burks is generally available later in drafts, so I'm okay taking Treylon Burks on my roster. For me, it's always about the draft position, right? So I don't really want to be counting on Burks as a starter in my lineup. But for you, if Allen Robinson's your wide receiver 3, right, and then you grab Burks as like your 4th, 5th, or 6th wide receiver, and maybe you pair him with like a veteran who's a little bit more consistent as a backup. It's always about roster construction for me. If I'm going to go get Treylon Burks, I want to make sure that I have somebody who I'm a little bit more secure in case Burks doesn't pan out the way we expect. Because as Fred pointed out, more often than not, the rookie wide receivers tend to disappoint us. The last couple of years have been, a little bit of outliers in terms of how they are in terms of fantasy.
Are you doing the fantasy show again this year on Sundays?
I am, Fred. Every Sunday morning, 8 a.m. We'll be back, and then I'll be doing the Bears pregame with Meller again 2 hours prior to the Bears. Cool. So hopefully most Sundays it'll roll right from the fantasy show into the Bears pregame when they're a noon kick.
Yeah.
I got one more fantasy question, if you don't mind. I'm bouncing. I got to.
No, go ahead.
All right. So I'm in the one league I'm in is a super flex, where I start 2 quarterbacks.
Yep.
I have one good one in Tom Brady. My other 2 are very shaky and unproven with Justin Fields and Kenny Pickett. How should I go and pick up Baker Mayfield right now?
So I guess my first question would be, Mike, is there a max? Can you have more than 3 quarterbacks on your
3? 3's your max.
All right. So, boy, Pickett's tough because listen, the good news is Fields, as good as he looked. Listen, I'm sure you guys have covered it earlier. Like that was the way the offense functioned for me was a big step forward. So I think you might have something there with Fields, more so than I would have said, a few weeks ago. That was very encouraging to see the way Luke Getsy called the game and just put him in a competent position. And Justin Fields handled it beautifully. So I'm higher up. I actually think, based on the way Superflex leagues generally play out, I would rather have Baker Mayfield than Kenny Pickett, because I do think Pickett probably is not in line to start for at least a couple weeks. And if Trubisky ends up being, somewhat competent and the Steelers can win a couple games with him as the starter, that'll push Pickett out further from starting. So I think I'd rather, if Mayfield's available on your wire, I'd probably go snap him up and let Pickett go, with an eye towards picking Pickett up when he does eventually get that job, which I do think will be at some point this year. But in super flex leagues, you really want to have 3 starters on your roster, just because if nothing else, if one of your guys goes down, you don't want to have to worry about, somebody who you're not comfortable starting later on. So if you can have that Baker Mayfield on your roster, I would definitely go grab him.
All right. Thank you for answering my questions. And I'm out of here.
All
Jeff,
right,
nice
Mike.
meeting you, man. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Just one last thing. If you have the first pick of the draft, are you taking Taylor? Are you taking a running back? Who would you go after? Your first guy?
Yeah, I think Jonathan Taylor is the safest play. Now, I wouldn't be surprised, if McCaffrey gives you a full season. I could see him definitely being the leading point scorer. But with the first pick, the safety that Jonathan Taylor offers, Fred, I'm just comfortable taking him. There's nobody else quite like him. And even though I'd be surprised if he has as good a season as he had last year, I think he'll be, 90% of what he was at the worst case. And so the safety of him as the number one running back, there's not really anybody else out there who jumps into that, that same class as him. So yeah, I'm definitely taking Jonathan Taylor with my number one pick if I get it.
Okay. Wasn't it nice for the White Sox just to say, okay, the baseball season's over so we can focus on football now?
I came in, it's like they got me close to Labor Day, right, Fred Boyd? Yep. It's been absolutely frustrating. And this weekend capped it off by far and away, just dogged it, right? Like against the Diamondbacks, fighting for your division life here, trying to win the AL Central. And that's the bet. You can't muster anything more than that. Right. It was just absolutely, defeating. And they have plunged me into, I think, apathy at this point, because I don't know how you get excited about where they're at right now. They're going to have to run off, a long win streak right now before they even start to pull me back in. And it's just, the whole year's been just so frustrating, right? This should be the fun time when you're hoping your young team finally is on the ascent. And man, it's just been brutal. They've been the most frustrating aspect of my life these days.
Yeah. No, it's been absolutely brutal. You look at it when they go on the road after Kansas City and Minnesota, they go to Seattle and Oakland, 2 teams that for decades they've struggled winning games out there. And now Seattle's a good team. Seattle's actually in the wild card right now. So, I mean, I can't see, I know they have an easy schedule. They say the next 15, but I'd be surprised if they finished over 500 in the next 15 games.
Yeah. And it's the chase rate. It's the home runs drying up, the singles that you're getting over and over again. I don't know if Frank Menachino's approach is the problem, but the fact that the power has gone completely away has exposed, the bullpen to too many close games. And when you're never winning any games by 4 or 5 runs, you're making it really hard on your team. It's tough too, because the pitching hasn't been terrible, but they just haven't been able to score enough runs to support them. So it's been a really, really frustrating season.
Yeah. Before you were on, I mentioned Joel Sherman on MLB Central or MLB Network today. He had the line, and this is the perfect line. He just said they don't play baseball well, and he's from everywhere, from defense to running the bases to moving guys over to getting the extra. They don't play baseball well, and I'm not sure. I know I've listened to a lot of the shows. You're not a big Tony fan, either was I. Never have been, but I can only blame so much on him. The players have been so bad this year. Moncada is he's not even. I mean, he's never been this bad. I mean, when Boston got rid of him, he wasn't this bad. I mean, it's been absolutely brutal. It's been such a tough season to watch. But at least you've got at least you've got Liverpool after a tough second game. They come out and score 9? Was it the other day?
I guess yeah, you're hitting on. So the Premier League starts with a dud. They tie Fulham early, then they go down to Crystal Palace. I mean, just a brutal way to go ahead and start out your Premier League season. And the soccer fans out there know that you really don't have much margin for error in the Premier League if you want to win it. And that's obviously, as a Liverpool supporter, that was the goal this year. And it started out so well with their winning the Community Shield over Man City. Darwin Nunez was looking like a guy who you could already just plug him right in. He's going to replace Sadio Mane and not skip a beat. And that certainly did not play out. So even nine goals, it's hard to take solace in that because, Man City's already out in the head and, you're chasing from, it's almost like you start to look ahead and say, all right, well, should you focus on the Champions League and set the Premier League aside? That's the one, the one thing that the drawback to soccer, fortunately for you with Bayern Munich, usually the league, the domestic league is not a huge issue. But when your English Premier League team is chasing Man City, there's very little margin for error. So 9 goals was fun this weekend, but it's hard to take solace when you're already chasing from behind.
Yeah. It's nice to have other sports, especially when you're a White Sox fan. It's nice to have other sports to watch. I was catching you guys every once in a while. I listen in the afternoons. Since I've left, I've been doing a bunch of other stuff. But whenever I get a chance, I tune you guys in. I love hearing you guys jump on in with Waddle and Sylvie. So it's great getting you on. I wanted to get you on before the season started. So hope things are well. Hope you're doing well.
Do you have 2 quick minutes, Fred, or you got to run?
Yeah, certainly do.
Because you would have enjoyed it. We turned into KNBO in the 5 o'clock hour today. We were breaking down Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance pretty hardcore. Curious because Waddle and I were debating it just a bit. He thought Jimmy Garoppolo going back to the 49ers, restructuring his deal, meant that it showed that they did not truly trust Trey Lance. But my counterpoint was Jimmy Garoppolo, I think, and him and his agent, Don Yee, probably looked at the landscape, and I don't think they had any good landing spots. And so, the only ones, if you really look at it, maybe the LA Rams, who are in the 49ers division because of what Stafford's dealing with. But if Stafford's healthy, Jimmy G's not going to play.
Right.
And then the Cleveland Browns, who have thrown all their support behind Jacoby Brissett. And even if that's just the public face they're putting on it, they probably didn't want to spend a lot on Jimmy Garoppolo. And even if you do that, that after 11 games, you're going to go to the bench and Deshaun Watson's going to return, even if you do a great job. So I think Jimmy Garoppolo and his agent just looked around at the landscape and said, there's nowhere to go. And so this is the best spot for me. So I don't know. How do you feel as a 49ers fan about the Jimmy Garoppolo coming back at a discounted rate? Do you think Kyle Shanahan and the team actually believes in Trey Lance, or do you think this signals a little bit that 49ers fans maybe should be concerned about Lance?
No, I think they believe in him. I mean, they haven't had, for the most part, in the preseason games and who knows, what else they saw in practice, but he's got the stronger arm. He's got escapability. 2 things right off the bat that he's got better than Garoppolo does.
Yep.
They liked him for a reason. That's why they picked him so high. I can't imagine that they veered off from him. I know they want to win and they think they can win right now. And I still think they can. You've got to look at all their players and the guys they have on that roster. They got a really good defense. I think their offense is going to be fine. He's going to learn. If he doesn't turn the ball over, I think he'll be fine. The defense is going to get them the ball in nice positions. It'll be like a Bears team back in the day where the defense will put him in good positions to score points and they'll run some things up. It'll be interesting though, because the first game against the Bears, you have no idea what to expect really. I mean, the Bears at home, they can get a nice little start. Trey Lance throws a pick, gets into his own head. First game starting in regular season. So it's going to be fun to watch. But yeah, I kind of agree with you. I don't think that all of a sudden after a couple of preseason games and what they've seen in the preseason, they decided that we want to keep Garoppolo. But I think for Jimmy, it makes sense.
Then because you're the 49ers and you truly do have designs on winning the Super Bowl, that's the goal. It doesn't hurt. Like, listen, backup quarterback in this league, we've seen if you have the right guy, and most recently with Nick Foles, you may need to count on him. But if you have a competent guy who can run your system and you have a very talented team around him, he can take you to the promised land. Now, it's hard to win like that year after year, which is why I think they want Trey Lance. They see a guy who has the potential to elevate the team. But if things, if he can't do it this year, or if an injury strikes, having Jimmy Garoppolo there, who's actually led you to the Super Bowl already, I mean, that's not a bad consolation prize to have sitting in the wings. So, it was an interesting story that really caught us off guard today. So we spent a lot of time talking about it.
Yeah, they actually, I mean, you go back and look at the game, they should have beat the Rams.
Yes.
I mean, they should have been playing. They should have been playing in that Super Bowl. So, I mean,
and Jimmy Garoppolo, was responsible for not
for a part of it. Yeah, he's responsible for, and every once in a while, we've talked about this. Hell, I think, let's see, I was gone by then, but Shanahan's play calling in the fourth quarter of playoff games and big games is not very good. It's been proven out. So, again, last year against the Rams was another episode. So, we'll wait and see. They got fortunate to beat the Packers with block punts and safeties and crap like that. But, I'm eager. I can't wait for the season to get underway. And like you said, you're playing games. When you're a fantasy guy, they're playing games on Thursdays and Sundays and Mondays and Sunday. It's all over the place. So I can't wait. But no, I'm glad I was able to get you on. Great seeing you. I know you're always busy. I know you guys you're working till 6. So I appreciate you jumping on and getting on as quick as you could. Thanks.
No problem, Freddie. Thanks for having me. Always good to see you, buddy.
Appreciate it. Say hi to everybody. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Okay. Jeff Meller from ESPN 1000. Great guy. Check out his fantasy football show on Sunday mornings. He gives you, not only he takes your calls, he tells you who he would play, who he would sit, and things like that. Gives you the latest on injuries at 8:30 in the morning. And he will also tell you, if you have any other questions, he'll allow you to text him and he'll get back to you and give you some opinions. Because in a show, you can only get to so many callers. He does a great job with all the guys in fantasy football, and just a great guy. White Sox fan, knows his fantasy football. And like I said, Liverpool fan. And between him and Abdallah with Man City, they go back and forth all year long with the English Premier League. My Man U isn't doing too well, but again, you cheer for Bayern Munich and you get 10 straight Bundesliga championships. It's kind of like, season starts, to get another win. And now let's see what they can do in the Champions League. So thanks to everybody for jumping on in. Again, we will not have a show next Monday. It's Labor Day. Enjoy your family. Enjoy barbecuing. Enjoy whatever you want to next week. But we will be back here with my show the following week. But don't forget, on September 11th, that's when we'll be doing our next show. And that is going to be at Nick and Ivy. You want to come out? We have the live pregame show for the Bears and the 49ers. Me and Fat Mike will be doing the show from Nick and Ivy. You want to be part of it? $40. Go to nickivy.com. You get 3 raffle tickets, a couple of beers, pizza party. You get to come on in, sit with us. We'll have a great time before the game. We'll have a great time watching the Bears and 49ers and Nick and Ivy. Don't forget, if you ever have any questions, you can get to us on our Facebook pages, 1252 Sports, or me. If I don't follow you already, track me down and we'll see what we can do. But for me and for Fat Mike and Jeff Meller from ESPN 1000, have a great night. Thanks for jumping on in. We will talk to you September 11th. Mike may or may not be doing a show this Wednesday. Keep an eye on all of the social media. We'll let you know as we go further. So thanks for watching. Talk to you in a week or so right here on Huebs Views and Brews.
Thank you for listening from 1252 Sports Chicago.